about it. Please welcome Ophira Edut.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ophira, Ophi. I'm a Sagittarius. Let's get that out of the way. Yes. So I am coming at this from the complete opposite direction. I'm not in the industry of TV, CTV, AVOD, and all the new acronyms I just learned today. But I have had my own platform for 20 years with my twin sister publishing astrology content. And it started as me giving editors back office advice on their love lives while I was at Ms. Magazine, evolved into a column at Teen People, books, a website, and then it just kind of keeps growing wings. And one of those wings ended up being approaching a production company about a TV show. So I have learned quite a lot about what that does to your brand and how kind of flexible you need to be when you think about translating to a new format. So I'm going to share what I've learned in the trenches and from my 6 weeks on a bachelor-style mansion property in Malibu that I did in October, watching 20 attractive, too young to be married, single people use what I've been doing for 30 years to try to meet their perfect match. So I'm calling it meta publishing because you do kind of have to take what you've done and meta-ize it, metamorphize it, and turn it into whatever it wants to be. So I've kind of identified for now 3 phases that independent or publishers who are not in this space want to know about. So the first phase, which took about probably a year and a half, we did the show during COVID. There was a full, testing on site every other day, masks and everything. So that was a special challenge, but we did it. So first phase, you want to translate. How can my brand communicate in a new streaming format? And what changes need to be made? What do I need to open myself up to? And then the second phase, which is the one we're in right now, is the monetizing phase. So how can both parties actually make revenue and grow their audiences? We're dropping all 10 episodes at once, so I've been told there's like 2 weeks to just go full force and grab all you can. So the adrenaline is already coursing through my veins as I think about it, but we have a couple months to get ready for that. And then the third phase, which we'll be in on August 22nd or whatever, is to extend. So what are the long-term benefits and opportunities? I'm really already thinking about this, of course. So we're entering this new space. How will it impact existing parts of our business? What can we, leverage or springboard into? What might I need to stop doing? Writing a daily horoscope every single day for 20 years. I mean, there are no days off in astrology, let me tell you. So, or weather, probably. So the translate phase, let's just talk about what actually happened. So our mission was to translate a 20-year-old content brand into a dynamic streaming experience. We started thinking sort of a talking head, celebrity astrologer, me and my sister, see, there really are 2 of us. We would play matchmakers and, to some hopeful singles who were frustrated with their love lives and talk to them and counsel them and all the things you see. But that wasn't really going to work so well in streaming because people are really most interested in themselves when it comes to astrology. So what we ended up with was a show called Cosmic Love with this wild CGI chamber and all these people going in and getting readings from a giant life-size crystal ball. So the premise that we ended up coming up with Amazon and the producers that we worked with, Hudson Media, was that 4 attractive singles, one of each of the elements of astrology, fire, earth, air, and water, would join a social experiment to see if astrologers could find their perfect match for them. And they would compete for love through this whole elimination style bachelor dating game, living in a house with 20 people, and come and get their forecasts and their missions from this room called the Astro Chamber. I know, it took a minute. I was like, because, you think, well, hey, I've been like sitting at a computer writing for 20 years. Now I should be on camera maybe, right? Well, maybe that's not actually the best idea. So you do have to be willing to go, okay, what's gonna actually get this idea out there? So the challenge for us is translating astrology into televised entertainment because it is, like I said, inherently selfish. Do you really care about anyone else's zodiac sign? And well, maybe if you want to date them, but like astrology, I always say, is permission to be self-centered. What's happening to me right now? Who am I compatible with? What should I do? And that's okay because we all secretly want to know, and it gives you permission to indulge that. And then it can lead to answers. But watching somebody on TV tell someone about their astrology chart is about as interesting as watching taupe paint dry. So we had to figure out. So our light bulb moment was, well, people will want to watch someone go through a simulated dating challenge and do all the hideously embarrassing and vulnerable things that you hope to never have to do in your love life. And then you can learn from their humiliation and mistakes. #reality television. So, one of the first tactics in the translation phase is to gamify. We figured out how to make experiential astrology. This isn't you sitting and reading your horoscope. This is a show focused on watching people go into the Astro Chamber, go, today you're gonna meet your match, and they're like this, and then they had to go and walk out to an area called the Celestial Sanctuary where their date was waiting for them. And they had to wonder if it was the person that they were flirting with last night or someone else. So they had this tension. They didn't know. Each of the 4 people had 4 matches in the house, and they didn't know who it was going to be until they were revealed one by one, along with an astrological lesson. So there was, oh God, Noelle made out with Anna last night, but whoa, she's not his match. Uh-oh, what will Jasmine P. think of that? There was a lot of, so it was kind of fun to watch, I gotta be honest. So there were eliminations, slow dripped reveals of their matches, and a race to the altar. That's where they were potentially going to end up. So another tactic, you gotta amplify it. It's true, things do need to be bigger for television. So we got the special effects. We had a guy named Jason who I think cut his teeth at Burning Man, building giant domes and art projects, and he created kind of a Burning Man for us. And that was the Astro Chamber. That's Maria, one of the 4 elements coming in. They all had an earpiece in, and I'm gonna show you what happened behind the scenes, where I ended up, in a trailer. Thanks. I did grow up in Michigan, but I didn't mean to go there. But so there's me and my sister in the Astro Control trailer. We actually did extensive work. We watched at least 100 casting tapes, ran everybody's birth chart, analyzed them, matched them up all summer. There's a lot of data, not the kind that you guys work with usually, but there was a lot of data used for these matches. And then we would put on a little headset and speak into an earpiece while they were in the Astro Chamber and tell them, Connor, today you will meet someone who blah, blah, blah. And they'd be like, whoa, how did they know that about me? So they never knew who we were. We were hiding in a trailer. So fun. So the next step, after recovering my dignity, was to, no, I'm joking, but is to monetize. So this is where things get good again. So how do the founders of this independent brand that we worked our asses off on for 20 years, that would be me and my sister, and independent publishers, not get swallowed up whole by the behemoth of Amazon, because they did, help themselves liberally to our material. The international crew was already there, like translating it into foreign languages before the final episode was filmed. I think there's a French version already coming out at the same time. I'm like, God, how do they move that fast? And who is doing this? But we had to accept. It's almost like a little bit of like a 5 stages of grief moment. You have to accept that you have no control over what a large partner will do, and then find what you can do. So we decided to partner up and play to our strengths. What did we bring that Amazon doesn't have? Well, deep expertise in astrology. I don't think they have 20 years to become astrology experts. We have credibility on the subject matter, and they really did actually appreciate and respect that, I felt. Authenticity. We have a niche audience, excuse the typo, of true fans, and we have intimacy and connection with our audience. They don't have any of that in the space that we're in. Of course, they have their huge company with cloud and the mainstream audience and the viewers and everyone. So if we can marry, the big, bad world of Amazon with a niche, which I was very interested in hearing the speakers yesterday, because it sounds like that is a real positive direction that things are going in. So we're putting it all together and seeing what we can do. So we had to find the entry point. So the show will debut August 12th. They'll drop all the episodes. Hopefully, a lot of new viewers will have their curiosity sparked about astrology. I mean, this is probably the only show or attempt at astrology that included that many men. Astrology, I mean, like it or not, it attracts women like bees to, I don't know, a flower. But getting men interested it's not like that's my crusade or anything, but it has been definitely not the way it's gone. So bringing an equal amount of men and women, I would have liked it to be not just so hetero, but for the purposes of the first episode, that's what they did. I limited control there, but it was very interesting to watch how the men adopted astrology through the experiential format as well. So I think there's going to be some really interesting outgrowths when it launches. So, okay, they'll watch the episodes, they'll get into the whole characters, and then hopefully what'll happen is what people will ask is, what about me? What about my chart? And that is where we come back in. Hey there, us again. And we are planning to be ready to greet the new and the true fans with a whole suite of astrological offerings. So great. You just watched Connor make an idiot of himself like a Gemini does again when he's emotionally vulnerable. Well, you're a Gemini too, and oh, you might have done that. What do you do? Hey, we've got you. We've got a report. We've got content for days. We have on our website, we publish our own books, and we have some that have been published by major publishers. We have the Astrology of Us, which is, did you know your relationship actually has its own zodiac sign and map that comes with it? So we have a book coming out about that. We have How to Get Along with Anyone. Yes, even that person, which is our guide to not screwing up your relationships. And Love Zodiac, a guide to the men of every sign. Read at your own risk. And then we have a lot of lead generators, our Astrology of Love, Sex, and Attraction free download. We have courses on your love life. So there's a whole buffet for people who go from 0 to obsessed, as people tend to do when you have a niche topic like astrology. And then additional ways, we have push notifications from Pushly. We have our newsletter and email marketing. We're going to do social media, supplemental video content, which now you've given me all kinds of ideas that how we can monetize that. There is some possible Amazon X-ray, which is the little additional, I forgot what you called it, but I wrote it down, but the additional content behind the scenes. They haven't decided whether they're gonna do that or not, but we'll be doing our own. We have media appearances. Amazon's PR team is definitely gonna be putting us out there. So there's an opportunity to, if you do partner with a large streamer, you're still the expert. You still have the goods. You are the story. They're like, well, nobody knows these 4 people, but they know who you and your sister are if they're into astrology. So now we're gonna trot you out in front of the media. I'm like, great, that sounds like a win-win. Some paid advertising probably too. And then we're gonna partner with our partners to create special content sections on their websites, watch parties. She Media and Stylecaster is one we're gonna do. And then Elle Magazine. I'm just gonna go hard for those 2 weeks and try to be wherever we can. So the last part of our lessons is how do we extend this? What can we do next? And that's gonna be our meta publishing. So we're really, hopefully, this is just the beginning of something. So, my techie mind is always thinking about, could we channel this into some gamification, something in the metaverse? Is there an NFT opportunity through this? Because astrology, like many niche topics, is a community. The Playboy community cares about something deeply. So the astrology community does too. And that unified area, I don't really think Amazon has any interest, as far as I know, in creating or building that out. We already have that. So, it's kind of a ripe opportunity to take back the expertise and, again, bring people into the conversation about the show. Develop our audience more, craft more and more offerings. We definitely track the data on our users, so we'll be trying out a lot of different things and seeing what people respond to. What works very well are usually little free reports, free personality tests, things to learn more about yourself, and then capture an email or push notifications. Just capture the data and learn who is there and keep serving them. So if you want to learn about the show or follow it, there's the URL, astrostyle.com/cosmic-love. We're kind of embargoed, so I wish I could show you video clips of the hilarious bachelor parties, and maybe there's a wedding or 3, but you'll have to watch that in August. And that was my life in the fall of 2021, while everybody else was waiting for a booster shot. So thank you for letting me share about that.
Thank you, Ophira. We have questions.
Yeah. So what, Michelle Maddock from SheFinds.com.
Hi.
I was wondering, this is a whole new world. Did Amazon give you producers, and how did you write a treatment and go in and pitch? How did it actually happen?
About a week before everything shut down for COVID, I believe it was March 11th of 2020, we met with a production company about the idea of doing an astrological TV show. Love is Blind had just come out and was becoming a sensation. So we thought, it would be really cool to do something like that with astrology. And they started, we did treatments, we did the sizzle reel, we did all that, and they pitched it around, and Amazon ended up taking it, but wanting to do it in a different direction with the whole special effects, voice of God, and that kind of thing. So we did that. There were about probably 250 to 300 people on this lot working on the show for those 6 or 7 weeks. It was a huge production. Took over this house in the top of a mountain, and I was like, wow. So it took probably about 2 years for the whole cycle, 2.5 years by the time it comes out. Yeah.
Who owns what IP in this? What aspects of the property do you retain, and what does Amazon retain? Because you mentioned you had French translators already there, bringing it into the European market. So I'm wondering what you retain, and how that negotiation goes on.
Totally. I wish I could say I own that, but I do not. So that's the part that's not fun when you're an independent publisher. So I highly recommend making sure that you do things maybe a little differently than they happened for us. We don't own the IP. However, there is a silver lining, I think, because they don't own any of mine either. So if I had a more formal role with Amazon itself, I don't think I would have the freedom to sell all of my products to my audience and the new audience. And if I weigh it, it's worth more to me to keep my audience.
Is Cosmic Love theirs?
It
and
is.
You can't use it, because I noticed in a lot of the brand extensions that you had in the monetization efforts, I didn't see the show necessarily prominent. And I'm curious how you're able to use it. Are you sort of as seen on?
Yeah. We are front and center as the astrologers, the kind of creative force, astrological force, matchmakers. If you ask me if I think that's fair or not, I'll tell you over a drink. But yeah, I think it's a balancing act.
And this is going to be on Prime, so it's the unsponsored portion of Amazon, or is it part of the Amazon streaming that in which they're selling ads?
Oh yeah, I think they'll be selling ads probably.
And you're not in on the rev share on that?
I'm not in on that, no.
What can you tell us about the sort of metrics that you're looking towards, or that they talk about, in terms of what a sizable audience is within this ecosystem, and do you have a sense of what the targets are in terms of what's a successful metric here for you?
I don't, because they're very, very close. It's very hard to get to the it's like there's always another person or department behind the person. So they don't really tell you that. And I decided not to focus on that and to focus on my own metrics and what I could get out of it, to be perfectly blunt, because I know that in the world of astrology, people will trust an expert and the person that they see. So I'm got to gather up what I can, if that makes sense.
Okay. Ophira, this is really interesting. Ophira's going to be leading the table that will be extending both her discussion but also the panel's discussion about monetizing and leveraging the streaming space. Ophira, Edut, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was cool.